Hey, all you out there, all you peoples. This is your host with the most, Tim Balch, and welcome to episode 5 of the Small Town Podcast. I haven't done an episode in quite some time. I've just been busy with my life and all that good stuff. I think the last one we did was with Brian Medlin, with the album OK Computer with Radiohead. And this time I'm talking to my buddy Gill Gonzalez. He plays in a band called Foreign Hands from Delaware. And we're going to be talking about, mainly we're going to be talking about Harvard's The Inevitable and I album. But we actually kind of get into some Radiohead talk because he's a big Radiohead guy. And a lot of things happened during the recording of this. First of all, you can hear me drink beer and burp a lot because I like to have a brewski while I do the podcast, which is probably a bad idea because then you all hear my guttural movements, which is really gross. I don't know why you would want to hear that. And then also at some point in the interview process, about 25 minutes in, all the lights went out. And in my little shitty apartment here in Lansdale, and we had to stop the tape, and I had to go downstairs into the basement and flip the circuit breaker and get the lights back on so we could continue. Luckily, like the interview doesn't stop dead because everything was being powered by my laptop. So I was really lucky that everything got shut off except the interview and the microphones and all that stayed on, which is kind of miraculous and really dumbly lucky. It was a great interview. Gil's a cool guy. He's pretty funny. We worked together, so it was cool to like kind of have a sit down one-on-one conversation with him. And yeah, so here it is. Here's the whole interview with me and Gill from Foreign Hands. Here we go.
Try not to say any curse words.
You can curse all the fuck you want, dude.
So where does this go? On iTunes?
This just goes, no, I don't really have an iTunes thing.
Oh, you already started.
Yeah, I know. Dude, that's how spontaneous it is. You just gotta dive in, man.
Oh, man. Okay.
No, I don't have an iTunes distribution deal.
So where does it go?
It just goes on YouTube, man. I just like bump it on Facebook and then drop that YouTube link, and then everyone's like, oh, okay, cool. I can listen to it.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. It's not like a huge production. I just do it kind of for fun. Like,
okay.
Talk to my dudes. What's up, Gill? Let's talk.
Nothing is up, man.
Nothing's up. That's good. It's a good way to start.
I'm not doing anything.
All right.
This is so
you're sitting here in my office in my podcast room.
First time being here. Yeah. First time doing a podcast.
Yeah. Well, tell the listeners at home what you're seeing. What do you see now? What is how would you rate my room?
You could
my
use
music room.
Some flags. You could like totally put a flag right there.
That is like prime real estate.
For everyone listening, I'm
flag.
Pointing right at it, so you clearly know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's pretty. It's about like I'm gonna say like a 5-foot section of the wall. It's just like barren.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely use a flag there.
Could do for
Other than
stuff.
that, it's a pretty cool space. This is a cool apartment.
Yeah, dude. It's a nice spot. I mean, we used to be upstairs. Now we're down here.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a scale back, but it'll work. It'll do. This is the first one I've done in like maybe like a year. Like
really?
Mm-hmm.
Podcast?
Yeah. I've only done about 4.
Okay.
And I guess like I just got fucking tied up with work and school and all that bullshit. And,
yeah. I feel you.
But yeah, dude. Like I've been trying to like do it. Like I like mentioned it at work, and for those of you that don't know, Gill and I work together at Cold Cuts, and we see each other all the time. And then like I would make fun of him for listening to Radiohead.
Yeah.
Which is not like I'm not like making fun of him because like I like Radiohead. But I'd be like, oh, I listen to Radiohead again.
I'm the type of dude that will find a band / record, mainly a record, and I'll just like beat it to the ground until I'm sick of it, and then I'll leave and then find something else.
Mm-hmm.
But like OK Computer has been on repeat.
It's a car. Yeah, dude. Like that's one of those records. Like I actually did a whole podcast based on that record. Mm-hmm. Like obviously this one's Harvard, but the one I did with Brian Medlin,
right,
of the old 4 that I did, we talked about OK Computer because Brian Medlin's a Brian Medlin used to be in a band called the Minor Times, which was like a Lansdale hardcore band that were like super like they got pretty big for like a band that came from this town.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were on Prosthetic Records
Okay.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna say like in the mid 2000s, but they were the first hardcore show I went to, like true hardcore show.
Yeah.
And like he was a drummer and he was just this fucking maniac on the drums, and he's a really nice guy. Like he actually, I think he used to live here. He also used to, which is really weird, I think he used to sort of live here.
Mm-hmm.
And the singer for the Minor Times used to live in this apartment too. So like
Yeah, I remember I've definitely seen Brian perform a couple times.
mm-hmm. He's super talented.
Yeah.
Like he does it all. Like he does drums, guitar, sings. Like
It's crazy.
he's done like records just by himself. He's
Mm-hmm.
super talented.
Cool.
Shouts out. But so Foreign Hands is the band you're in.
Yeah.
That's cool. How'd you get caught up in that?
So a while ago, I
hope you don't mind if I drink beer while you
care.
respond to this.
Okay. I have water. It's okay.
That's good. I was gonna offer you. How old are you?
22. I turned 22 last week.
I wasn't sure if I was gonna like break some law by offering you alcohol.
No. No one would know.
Nobody.
So
This is the part that's not getting broadcast. I'm gonna edit this out.
So when I was in my old band, we played a show with this band called Triumph from Delaware, and I swear that was the first time I met Tyler. Tyler is the singer of Foreign Hands.
Okay.
And he's like my best friend.
Okay.
And he disagrees. He's like, "Oh, dude, I met you before that. I don't remember it."
Dude, I don't remember you. No.
So we played a show together, and then we just became really good friends. And then through the years, they saw that my old band had broken up, so they needed a guitar player for a tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said yes, like, let's do it. And then the tour ended up getting canceled, which is really funny.
Bummer.
Like a week before we were supposed to leave, it got canceled. And I knew all the songs, and I ended up just like clicking with everyone in the band, and I ended up joining. And I was never actually planning on joining another band after Armory.
Yeah, you were in Armory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to go to school and like do something different, you know?
Yeah. And like you don't want to get caught up in that whole shitstorm of playing shows and like having to go to practice and trying to get that going. Like it's fucking exhausting.
But it's definitely, I'm really happy that I'm in the band. And
that's good, man. You guys are good. Like you guys are like super solid.
Thanks.
Like I bumped that record. I keep it in my ever since you gave it to me at work. Like I keep it in my little side pocket, my car.
Our new stuff is way better. It's out.
Yeah, I mean
it's just not on CD or anything.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
It's super good. When was that? when did you join? What was that?
2 years ago. Yeah, it's been about 2 years.
Okay. Dude, it's crazy. It's 2018. I can't I'm still not like used to it. When I say like 2 years ago, I'm talking about 2015. You're like, it was 3 years ago. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean?
Ooh, it might have been 3 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
3 years ago is when they asked me to do the tour, and then we changed the name after I joined from Triumph to Foreign Hands.
Okay.
Because of legal issues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
was there another Triumph band?
Yeah.
Or did Triumph the Insult Comic Dog get like really upset?
Triumph, Triumph there's another band called Triumph. They were from the 80s or something. So long story short, we ended up changing our name, and we wanted to change it anyways. Like we wanted to change it to something else, and the idea of Foreign Hands was already kind of there. So we're like, this is better anyways.
Who came up with that? Was that you or?
It had to have been Tyler. Okay. I can't think of anything that cool, so it must have been Tyler.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And like most of them are from Delaware. Like all of them are like from Delaware, and they just like kind of found you at. Did you say how they met you, like at like a show or something, like from Armory?
Well, I mean, like after we played that show, I guess like we ended up playing a couple more shows together, like mm-hmm. Triumph and Armory, and then I would go see Triumph perform, and in Delaware every once in a while when I got a chance.
Okay.
And then they just knew that I was into music and, played instruments and stuff.
That's cool. And remind me, you play bass in that band or guitar?
I played bass in Armory.
Okay.
And now I play guitar
now you play
in
guitar.
Foreign Hands.
That's right. Okay. I'd keep that straight. I wasn't sure if it was guitar and...
It's okay. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, dude.
Bass is sick. I'd rather play bass.
Man of many talents. Yeah, like, I was talking to somebody the other day where it's just like everyone can play bass, but like it's important to like look like, this is gonna sound shitty, you have to look good while you're playing bass. Like, yeah. I don't have the body type. Like I'm short and like, I'm not a big guy. I'm a small 5'5" guy. I can get away with playing like a rhythm guitar, but like a bass, just like it looks like a little kid playing a bass.
Yeah, I mean, it depends.
Not okay.
It depends on like what it is. Like I could rock like a Fender, like Squire bass, whatever, like jazz bass, P bass. But like if you put an Iceman in my hands, like an Ibanez Iceman, I look like the biggest idiot. Yeah. It's like this guy doesn't know how to play
Icemans are hard to pull off, man. Like you got to be like a tree trunk of a human.
Yeah. Tyler has an Iceman.
Yeah.
And he pulls it off pretty well. It's really heavy.
Yeah, dude, you could like rob a bank with that shit.
Yeah, you could really hurt yourself.
Yeah, dude.
Or drop down on your foot.
Nope.
No more Iceman.
No
more foot. No more Iceman.
No more foot. No more big toe. No more. Yeah. I mean, the Iceman will probably be okay.
Probably.
Let's be.
It's an Iceman.
Let's for real. An Iceman. What is that? Is that a Fender or like a?
It's an Ibanez.
Ibanez, okay.
Model bass, whatever.
I've only like seen one Iceman in my entire life.
Yeah.
But like, man, that's funny. Do you guys do like coordinated things? Like, I've never seen you guys live. That's a shame on my end.
That's okay.
What do you guys practice? Do you practice like your spin kicks, like your roundhouse kicks, windmills? Come on, what's in the choreography here? What are we talking?
Literally zero choreography.
Damn, son.
I mean, we all look like idiots sometimes when we practice.
What kind of hardcore band are you?
We'll all act like really dumb
no
and like
steps.
Yeah, there's no like, yeah, don't forget to turn around at this part. Like nothing like that. It's just we go on stage and we just like do what we want.
Like looking back on that, like a lot of bands did that. Like a lot of bands like.
Oh yeah, I like when I was in like a band in middle school, and like we used to do that all the time, and it was just like bands that.
It's just theatrics. I mean, like because like that was sort of the perfect thing. It's like if you're gonna be like, I don't know, like 18 Visions or like that's not a. What the fuck? I'm dating myself. Hold on. I'm trying to think of like a typical band that like did all that. Like,
dude,
that, like did all the stage moves, like the fucking like.
You ever heard of Asking Alexandria?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So like like I was just so.
Yeah, remember that?
Dude, you would know. Like,
of course I would. I was so into that when I was, and like I have such a.
I was so detached from it all. I was just like, why are they doing that?
I was so into it. I was so into it when I was a kid. When I was like younger, I guess I'm still a kid. But when I was like younger, I was really into that, and then I just like moved on and like not moved on, but like checked out other music.
Like you matured, like you.
Yeah. Like I was just like, okay, I did this thing. I want to move on because I got bored. I'm not gonna lie. Like I got bored of like the breakdowns and like the.
Dude, everyone does.
Like there's so many cookie cutter bands, and like I don't want to be that guy that's like, man, everyone sounds the same. But like,
it's kind of like
there's a lot of bands.
That's kind of the game though, because it's like you gotta. First of all, the music gets diluted so much, and then like it makes room for the ability to have all these stage theatrics and like coordinated like moves and like guitar tosses and like all that, and like to coordinate that and not have to compromise any of the like the music isn't even that involved to begin with. So like if you fuck up, it doesn't matter because like you're tossing your guitar over your head and you're gonna miss. It doesn't matter because it's like the music is just like super straightforward and there's like no. It's not like you're gonna miss a transition or like it's not gonna go in a weird time signature. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. People are people like they're into what they're into. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Like I'm not gonna like sit here and be like, oh, this music type of music.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah,
at the moment, maybe I'll like get back into it.
Are you shitting on metalcore,
no,
dude?
Absolutely not.
Like.
Absolutely not.
You're not a cheerleader for them, so you must hate them. You must think they're awful.
No, there are pictures of me in Bless the Fall shirts.
No way.
Yeah.
oh my God, bless the fall. I actually, humble brag for a sec. I like recorded, like years and years, like this is like 10 years ago, like when I was in high school. It was like one of the first like big like studio sessions that I did, like a real studio. It was at Chin Music Studios in Cleveland, Ohio. I was in a really sort of immature like pop punk band, and we did like breakdowns and like it was sort of like a Day to Remember type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We called Promising Intent, and like we recorded at Chin, which is where Bless the Fall did their first EP, I want to say.
Dude.
And like they had like all the
His
plaques on
Last
the wall
Walk?
of like, yeah, that's it.
Oh man.
And also where Emarosa did their first thing,
No
because
way.
it was the Chin Music Studios was like kind of the house of it was like a renovated like warehouse. It was like
Right.
the third or fourth floor of like a warehouse in the shittiest part of Cleveland, dude. Like I don't know if you've ever been to just like the just ghetto of Cleveland, Ohio, but this is where the studio was. It was just in the dead of like
Yeah.
poverty and despair.
It's funny. Ohio is awful.
Yeah.
I hate Ohio so much, dude.
And
like, I
not
don't-
many good things have come from Ohio.
Citizen came from Ohio. My friend Aaron
Did they?
came from Ohio. Yeah, Toledo /
Oh yeah.
Detroit.
Okay, well that's one good thing.
But like a lot of great music has come out of Ohio. But man,
Oh yeah.
Ohio sucks.
sucks
I don't talk
donkey
shit
dick,
ever. Like I don't say bad things usually. But Ohio
I've heard you say that.
sucks.
It does suck, dude. Like I can tell
It's
you,
the worst.
I can tell you firsthand. I've had to go take like weekend trips there, like
Yeah.
5 or 6 times, like in like 1 year, and it was like, and like, dude, it's like not only is it like shitty, like the city, but like just like the living conditions and just like I mean, like you're right by like, you're sort of in the northern area, and like you're right on the coast of like a lake, one of the Great Lakes. I forget, it's like Superior. I don't give a fuck. But like it's super cold just because like you get that like lake air, that like really frigid air that comes from the Great Lake, and it's just super cold and it's just nasty, dude.
Yeah.
But like yeah, like that's where Blessed Fall did their record. I don't even know if they're a thing anymore. I don't even know if that studio is there.
I think
it was sort of
Blessed
like
Fall is definitely a band.
Oh yeah, they're still a band, but
They probably do really well.
yeah, they've done pretty well for themselves.
Yeah.
But that's cool, man. Like what was I gonna say earlier? So I was talking about how like you said that like the first tour that you guys like were gonna do like got canceled or like
Yeah.
didn't fall, like it like fell through.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been having terrible luck with tours lately.
Yeah.
Like-
You told me about the.
Yeah, like the reason why we're able to do this right now is because the Brandish tour that was gonna happen was just like a little weekend
Yeah.
tour thing, like got canceled. Like, and they're like small tours, so like
Yeah.
you wouldn't think like it's not like a big, couple week tour. It's like it's gonna take a whole month. That fell through. It's like, oh, it's so tragic. But it's these like little tours that you wouldn't think. Do you think that they'd be okay? But like they just like fell through.
Mhm.
It's hard to get tours off the ground, man.
Yeah.
like-
I don't know anything about booking shows or like booking a tour.
I've had to do a couple ones. I had to do the last Andros tour, which was like the last like big one, which was like 4 weeks,
Right.
and that was like most like a big chunk of our summer, which was really sick. But yeah, dude, it's grueling. It's like,
I know it's not easy, and I think that's what's scary.
and I'm not as good as I thought I was, because like I can send emails, I can like I can organize things pretty well, but like, dude, when it comes to just like the showdown, it's like when things happen, it's just like I struggle right at the last minute all the time, and I'm like, it's always just a nightmare right at the end, just trying to get like everything like, oh, we got these 2 days off, like it's gonna be awful. 2 days off, like what are we gonna do with ourselves? We're just like stare at each other and like fucking twiddle our thumbs for 2 days before we hit.
Let's go to the mall.
Before we go to let's go to
Some awful.
let's go to
mall
fucking Panda
trips.
Express again.
Yeah.
But when I went on tour with Brandish, we had a couple. We had help from a guy, like an agent, but mostly like we were able to like book a lot of the shows, like fill up a lot of the, because there were some like days like in between, and we were able to fill them up ourselves. Like the guys that are in Brandish are like super savvy, and they're like, they do the day of, like literally like that, like we'd be on the road in like Virginia, like heading to North Carolina or something, or like Virginia Beach or something, and we'd be like, yo, let's like get a show tonight. Let's like play a show tonight. And we're like, okay. So we'd all get on our phones and just like see what we can come up with. And like, it wasn't usually me, but the other guys, usually Mike, he was just like, and it's not because he knew somebody. He would just like bump it out. He'd be like, yo, we're a band, we're on the road right now. Like, he would just like email venues. And then like one of them would be like, yeah, dude, come by. Some of them were kind of shitty. Some of them actually were really, really sick.
Yeah,
like,
you never know.
It's like, and it like materialized in like 5 hours. So
that's
like
crazy. Yeah. I've never done anything like that before.
So that's like
not that I remember.
That's like super like guerrilla style touring, like, and
yeah,
I've been present for that, and that's
sick.
It's pretty sick.
I've had dates fall through, and I've had promoters not pay us, and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
dude, that's like.
But I mean, that's like
tale as old as time. Like,
yeah, it happens. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You get over it.
Yeah, we've had like as recently as this year, just like guarantees, and then like no money at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, so why did you say it was a guarantee?
Yeah.
Like,
and like obviously people don't do this. I mean, at least I'm speaking for myself here, but I don't do it to get paid. I do it because it's like fun.
right, but when you're on the road, that's like
when you're far away from home.
we've had to like take shows that we normally wouldn't take, other than the fact that they were guaranteeing like a payout. I was like, otherwise we'd play this like kind of dope ass house show, which wouldn't yield money at the end, but it would be kind of cool, and like, you know, the bands are cooler. But then like it's like, all right, we'll do this because like we need gas money, or like we need to whatever. We still got like a week left.
Yeah.
And at the end they're just like, oh, sorry, we had to like pay this band came from fucking Maine, or like this band came from Vermont, so they got all the money. And they're just like, what the fuck, dude? Like we just like we totally got that wrong. And it's just like, but dude, that's just the kind of fucked up way of it.
Yeah.
Oh well. But yeah, dude. What were like sort of your like, because you were talking about how Four in Hands like were practicing a Poison the Well cover. Am I willing to say that? Like, should I say
we've
that?
done it before.
Is that okay? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I was letting like a cat out of the bag. I was just like, as I was saying it, like, oh shit.
no, it's cool. It's cool. It's not a secret.
Good. I'm glad. Because
Yeah.
like I don't want to be like because I knew like I was like preparing myself for like a look of just like
Like, no, don't mention
shut
that.
the fuck up. Like, you can tell we totally prepared for this interview. But like Poison the Well were like one of the first like metalcore bands that like I got into like right at that time, like of like late 2000s, like when it was like I guess like there wasn't, I wouldn't say that's like when the best metalcore came out, but that was when it became super commercialized. It became like I'll just tell you from experience, like that's like when like metalcore and post-hardcore like kind of came into like major labels were like eating it up. They were just sort of scrounging at the underground scene, and they were just like, oh, this seems like, you know, this is attracting a lot of, you know, underground attention. Like these bands are filling up like small venues, small clubs, and so
we're
like,
pick
you know,
them up and see what we can do.
we're gonna capitalize on this guy or capitalize on this band. Like they're like really, and Poison the Well was one of them because like they were doing it really well. That first record, Opposite of December, was like a huge. They were doing that super well because they kind of blended post-hardcore and metalcore. Like it had melodic elements, but it was super heavy and it was super brutal. And it like sort of just like, yeah, you can do this too, and it's commercially viable. So it's like it was just like kind of all the cylinders were hitting, and like, you know, they were one of those bands that like. And then when Terror from the Red came out, it was like, have you ever heard Botchla? You ever heard that song? And I adore her. That was like one of the first like metalcore songs I heard. Because like it started out like really. It's the first song on Terror from the Red, and it's like it starts out like really sweet, just a guitar line, and like his like kind of vocal like really soft, and then just fucking just just like it totally just like flips on a dime, and you're like, this is sick. When you're 12, you're like, this is the best thing I ever heard. Like, so like, what were sort of like the bands that like at a young age, like I know you mentioned Asking Alexandria, but like
when I was
other than like trendy like, you know, metal music that they were like trying to pump out at you, were there other things like that like, you know, like were you strictly a metalcore kid, or like did you dabble in like hip hop, or did you dabble in like punk rock? Like what was like, was there anything else that you were like interested in like in that time, or was it all metalcore all the time?
For a good while when I was younger, it was just me like kind of pushing away anything else that like didn't have like distorted guitars and like screaming in it because I was very closed-minded for a while.
Okay.
And then as I got older, I was like, okay, I'm going to try new things. But prior to like being really into metalcore and like heavier music or whatever, like I would listen to classic rock all the time.
Okay.
And like bands that really got me into like music were like Nirvana and Guns N' Roses and stuff. Like it sounds like pretty typical, but
yeah, dude. I mean, like that's like anyone that like got deep into like subgenres.
Yeah.
It's not like they just did that and like they had like stepping stones. That's like Nirvana, Guns N' Roses were like good like stepping stone bands like Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah, exactly.
Like I remember like when it came to like metal, I wasn't like really super into it, but like I really liked Metallica. Just like a couple songs. Like it was just because like when you're young, it's just like you're not buying albums. You're just like hearing what's on the radio. Yeah. You're just like absorbing like what people are giving to you, like what the radio stations are giving to you. So like, you know, I sort of like, oh wow,
the lights just went
out.
Dude. Okay, I saw it flicker earlier, and you definitely made a sound like, oh god.
But this is crazy. Like this is still going on. Like
yeah, it's still
so the
recording.
Lights are out, but it's still like recording. Hold on, I want to see it.
That is so sick.
So right now, this whole interview is being powered by my laptop.
That's unreal.
Is that awesome?
Unreal. Should we stop? Should we keep going?
No, let's keep going. Hold on. Gill, there is like a lantern behind you on the ledge right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's like a little gray barrel looking thing here. I'm going to turn my flashlight on here. This is crazy.
This thing, those are CDs.
It's right next to that mason jar. You see it?
Oh my god.
What are you doing? Dude, those are my CDs. Gil's struggling in the darkness.
Oh my god.
Knocking over my CDs.
It's still going.
It's still going on, babe. Like, it's amazing. Like, the lights went out, but like, the whole thing's being powered by my computer.
Is this the first time this has ever happened?
Second. I don't know what happened.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we flipped a fuse. I don't know if we did or someone else in the complex did. We live on the second floor, and there's people like below us. Well, there's a guy below us, and then there's we're attached to another unit on the other side.
They
flicker every now and then. That's normal.
Okay.
And like the last time like the actual lights went out was like, you can be in here, baby, if you want. The last time like the lights went out was we put in like a space heater in the living room, and the space heater just like we just had it up way too high. We had no idea like how poorly it would affect the electricity, like the circuit. And like as soon as we plugged it in, within like 5 minutes, like all the lights went out. We're like, shit, that was us. But it was
Could you fix that? I was trying to heat up soup because I'm turning.
Do you want me to go fix the heat?
Yeah.
I mean, the lights.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then we'll have to pause.
That's fine.
Okay.
We'll postpone.
So here,
you should put on like.
So we'll pause. Actually,
when you
we'll
edit
put
this. You should put like please wait music.
Yeah.
That'd be, yeah.
I'll probably just put like Harvard in here or something.
Okay.
All right. So I'll put in like one of the Harvard songs on.
That's a good segue.
Inevitable and I. Yeah, because we'll talk about Harvard when we come in.
Cool.
So.
All right.
Water's not for your lungs. No, the water's not for anyone. No, the water's not for your lungs. No, the water's not for anyone.
Wow, that was kind of weird.
Cool.
So the lights are back on. Pretty sure it was like us or something. I'm not sure. While we were talking, the lights went out in my apartment, but the interview kept going because the whole thing was being powered by my laptop because the battery was still going, and all the microphones are the interface is like all plugged into my laptop, so like it was still able to go on, but I had to go fix it. I had to go flip the circuit breaker. But we are back now, which is the good news. We're rocking this so hard, man. The circuit breaker
man.
can't even take it. They're shutting the lights out on us because they don't want us to keep going. I'm a jackass. But yeah, what were we talking about when the lights went out? We were talking about just like music that we liked as like kids, like got us like that like informed our music taste now, like our current.
Yeah.
But like, I guess like for me it was like what was being fed to me on the radio, and then I got sick of that, and then it was more punk rock was like a big thing in my life. Like I really liked. Because, like, you know, my brother skateboarded, and I, like, would hang out with him, and, like, I would skateboard like around the neighborhood, and these kids in the neighborhood that we hung out with, really like Bad Religion and NoFX. And
yeah.
So, like, I got into that kind of thing. Whenever Matt puts on NoFX at work, dude, I freak out. It's awesome, because, like, I used to love NoFX. But that was a huge part of what I did. I started playing drums, and then I just wanted to play drums in like a pop punk band.
Right.
That was like a back then pop punk was like Blink-182 and Sum 41.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we wanted. Because there was no like Story So Far when I was a kid. There was no I guess like we had like a little bit of like Yellow Card. Yellow Card were like sort of the bridge between like what was happening when I was a kid, and then like they still kept making music like well into like the 2010s and all that, but
yeah, I used to like pay attention to like all the newer bands that were coming out and like what was kind of popping at the time, and now like I'm not as involved with it. I'm more like looking back at older music and kind of like Radiohead, like we were talking about that earlier. Like,
dude, it's eye-opening. It's like,
yeah, it's like I can't believe
it blows your mind.
I've been alive for so long and I haven't been obsessed with this band my entire life. You know what I mean?
When was like obviously you had heard Radiohead's name, but like when was it? What was the time that like you were like, all right, I'll give them a shot? Like what was like the straw that broke the camel's back? Like, all right, I'll give them a shot.
So obviously everyone has heard Creep. You know what I mean? And like everyone's
Is that a song by them?
Yeah. So everyone's been introduced to that song, and in my head, that's like, oh man, that's their hit. And it's wrong. Like, it's just wrong. You know what I mean? It's what, like, they feed you.
It's like nothing like what they became. It's nothing like what they became.
So, Matt at work, he put on 2 + 2 = 5.
Okay.
And the second it started, and he puts on music all the time. Mm-hmm. And sometimes
he's got good taste.
He's got good taste. Yeah, he likes good music. And like it's funny because we're introducing him to like hardcore and stuff. Yeah. So he'll be like, "All Out War, yeah," and it's like, "Fuck yeah, man! You had no idea."
Integrity.
But he put on 2 + 2 = 5, and the second it started, I stopped what I was doing and I looked at him. I was like, "What is this?" Mm-hmm. And he's just like, "Oh, this is Radiohead." I was like, "I love this," and like I love that song. And then he started playing like Weird Fishes and stuff, and he really liked Exit Music for a Film.
Oh, dude, that song's brilliant.
It's incredible. Like, and after that, I was just like, I need to like try them out. So then I would just like listen to those songs and be like, okay, I like these songs, and then. Karma Police came on, so I was like, I'm gonna check out that whole record. Mm-hmm. And then he showed me what's that song? Fitter Happier?
Yeah, the little interlude.
Yes. So he showed me that, and I was like, that is insane. Mm-hmm. And
you know what that is, right? That little vocal effect.
What is it?
Okay,
it's the old Macintosh thing.
Yeah, it was like the old vocal command thing where like you could type in and like it would speak what you type.
That's crazy.
And like that was like on the old like Windows. I think it was a Windows thing or a Mac. I don't know which operating system it was, but it was like those old computers in the 90s, and if you had a voice command, you could type in what you wanted it to say, and like of course they made it say like really dark and dreary
crazy stuff.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, I went out and I
only
saw...
Radiohead would come up with something like that.
Yeah, and it's genius. Like, I love that record.
It's perfect in and out. It's like one of those, like, it was like a monumental thing when it happened in like 97,
Yeah.
I want to say, but like
Something like that.
before that it was like what had been happening at the time was all these bands from the UK, these like pop rock bands were like sprouting out, and Radiohead were one of them. They were like, they had like modest success, but there was like a war going on between two UK bands that were like, you know, like the press really liked it. They were just like, these two really popular bands are like, you know, coming out with records in the same week, and like, you know, who's gonna get the more, you know, who's gonna get the more airplay, who's gonna sell more copies or whatever. And they were Oasis and Blur. Now they're both like really good bands.
Yeah, they're great.
But like Radiohead sort of like were on the outskirts of that.
Mm-hmm.
They were, I guess, like more artistic, and they were more like, they were taking more chances with their sound, and they were changing more drastically. So no one could really get a beat on them, but they were making like, have you ever listened to The Bends? The Bends is fucking dope, dude. Like, it was right after Creep. It was a record they came out with after Creep, and it was the one before OK Computer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard their songs. Like, when I could play you a song from The Bends, like one of the singles, and you'd be like, "Oh, this song!" Like, "Don't Leave Me High."
Oh
like,
yeah, I love that
Leave Me
song.
High and Dry is from
Yeah.
Fake Plastic Watering Can. That one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That
See,
one too.
like I know those songs, but then I ended up just sticking with OK Computer, and like that's what I mean when I say like I'll listen to a record or two and just like beat it to the ground, like that one, and then Hail to the Thief.
Yeah.
Are like the two that I stuck with. But now like I want to check out In Rainbows, and like Kid A has that one song, How to Disappear Completely.
Oh yeah.
And that song will
They're
mentally
really spacey,
ruin me in
Dude,
the best way possible.
Kid A is like in a league of its own, man. Like,
Yeah.
Like sometimes like I'll prefer that to Kid A. I mean to OK Computer, because Kid A has this like Kid A. It sounds like it comes from another planet. Like OK Computer sounds pretty earthly.
Yeah.
Like even with all its like technological like, you know, little things going on, but it's still kind of a rock record. Kid A is not a rock record. It's like this like, it comes from like Planet Xenu or something. Like it's like fucking nuts, and it just like, it's like magical to listen to. You're like, oh my god. Like when I first heard it, I was just like, I don't know if humans made this. I think aliens made this. So like, that was the first time I've ever heard a record where I was just like, I don't think humans were responsible for this.
Yeah, they're not real. I've never seen them in real life, so I'm just gonna assume they're not real people.
Yeah, and like just the balls, the chrome-plated balls, like to come out with something like, you know, off the tails of OK Computer, to just be like, yeah, this is nothing. You never heard anything like this, and we just wanted to make something that was completely
made this
and utterly backwards from like what you could ever expect.
Yeah,
and like
incomprehensible.
Incomprehensible.
Yeah,
I think it's that.
Whatever. Words are stupid.
Yeah.
You
I'm gonna tell my mom you said that. She was an English teacher.
She's an English teacher.
She beat grammar into my brain.
Oh man.
Since I was a little kid.
I know how to use the correct there.
Yeah, do you? Are you sure? Because I could school you right now.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure.
Do you listen to There?
No.
Oh, there's a really great band called There, and it's all the different theirs.
All theirs.
Mm-hmm. And it's the guy from Into It Over It.
Okay.
It's
I've heard of them.
It's one of that guy's. His name is Evan Weiss. It's one of his many bands.
Okay.
He's in like, well, he started Into It Over It. That was like his side project that became like his main thing.
Yeah.
And then he started other side projects. One of them was There. Another one's called Pet Symmetry. Another one's called
Heard of them.
Stay Ahead of the Weather.
Okay.
Is another one.
Yeah.
And they're all great because he's just a maniac. But
right.
I always thought that was a clever band name.
It's a cool name. Yeah.
It's sick because that was like part of my upbringing because I got grammar beaten into my brain. But yeah, dude, Radiohead's sick. The Benz was cool, but like what happened was like when OK Computer like dropped, everyone was like, wow, this is really good for a Radiohead record. And then within like a couple months, everyone's like, wow, this is like the best record anyone's ever heard.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like, it not only were they like great songs, but they also said something about like how technology is like sort of taking over everything and like making humans miserable and like making us feel like less like, I guess, like, you know, not as effective, like more ineffectual than like we have ever felt, because like now, you know, technology can do what we can do, and it just kind of had this like depression about it that was like really super relatable, and like they always call it like the best record ever. So like it's cool when I see the new generation. That's such a fucking dumbass thing to say. I like seeing when people catch on to stuff like that, when they're like, yeah, this shit is like, this is like the good stuff. I know like this has been marketed to you to be good, but like this is like,
yeah,
oh my god, holy shit, this is like,
it's just something.
This changed everything though. This is why we have this. So it's like,
it's definitely something that just clicked with me. Like, I heard it and I was like, wow, I don't know what it is, but I really like these songs.
mm-hmm.
And I just.
Is that how you felt about Harvard when you heard it, like right away?
Yeah.
How was like, what was your first exposure to Harvard?
I remember it vividly. I was it's not crazy, but I remember it. I was hanging out with some friends, and I was hanging out with my friend Jen, and I guess people were just putting on songs like on the computer or whatever, and then French Girls came on.
Okay. And
I heard the trumpet, and I think it's a trombone.
It's a trumpet, yeah.
Okay, so I heard the trumpet, and the drums, and it just like clicked, like drew me right in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like sitting there, and they were having I was like, what is this? And they're like, oh, this is a band called Harvard.
They were like very nonchalant.
They're like, oh, that's Harvard. And I was like,
yeah, you don't know, like,
yeah, like they were like, how? And that was my first time. And then they were just like having a conversation while the song was going on. And it was the easiest thing to just tune them out and be like, are you hearing what's going on right now?
Mm-hmm.
This is insane.
Dude, that's the beauty of like something that's like not only really good, but like something that like gets to your ear and into your brain like really quickly. Cause like not everything has that like quickness to it. Not everything has that urgency. But like I felt the same way. Cause I think I heard On It With Disease. That was the first one. And it was the same context. Like I was hanging out with my buddy Dan in his basement at his parents' house. And he just put them on. He had like I think Spotify had just come out. It was just like, and I'm like, dude, you have a Spotify account? Like I'd never seen anyone who had one before.
Yeah, it was crazy when I first saw it.
It was like 2010 or 2011 or something.
Yeah. And
he's just like, yeah, dude, like this is awesome. I could just type in whoever artist and they come up. And one of the first ones he did was Harvard. Yeah. I'm just like, who's this band? He's like, I don't know, dude. Like I think he had heard from a friend, and he's like, dude, I've been really into this, like super hard. And I'm like, dude, I think I am super into this, like really hard. And he's just like, and he was also a drummer. Like we were both like, we had met because like we both played drums. And he was just like, dude, have you seen the drummer? Like, have you like, or like
watched him
like listen to this whole record, listen to the drums, and then this is what he looks like. He showed me like a drum cam footage video of Ghost, that take it from me, and like it's just the drummer live, and it's like super good quality, and like drum, and he just like whoever. I don't think that drummer stuck around that long. I think he was just for that record or those couple years like following that record. But man, he was slamming those drums. He was just like bah, bah, and he hit every mark, if not made it better than how he did it on record. Yeah. Like not only did he hit all the good parts on record, he like expanded and made better like for live performance. Yeah. And it's just like, dude, this guy's out of control. Just like the little, he does like at the end, like he does like a little like this like little swing thing from like ride to hi-hat. Like it's like it's towards the end, like right after like the final chorus when it kind of comes down. And I was just like, how's he doing that? That's so crazy. And like, and from that point, I'm like, this band's dope. And like, I just bumped Inevitable, and I like all like, for the next like month, just like every day, I would just like drive around and just like, you know, get high and just like, oh my God, this is like that shit. And they were actually a huge, that CD behind you, that one with the kitty. Yeah. That's the first Andross EP. And like, I had been writing for that EP at the time. And when you listen to that, like you can hear like blatant, like
Harvard
not like rip-offs, but like it's just like the way the drums are mapped out and like the way the vocals are and like where the songs go. It's just like it's kind of a very Harvard influence. Like that was like what I was going for. Yeah, I wanted to be more melodic and wanted to be like this band is doing it, and like I wanted to
Yeah.
do like harness that energy and be like,
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah, the band's good. That record is great.
top notch premium beef. But yeah, dude. And do you listen to from the Birdcage?
Yeah.
Like, do you fucks with that?
Yeah.
I do too, man. Like
I in my opinion, I don't like it as much as The Inevitable and
I go back and forth.
Yeah. But there are songs on From the Bird's Cage that I
Mhm.
really enjoy just as a piece altogether. The Inevitable and I is so good. Track to
The
track
Inevitable
to
and I,
track.
like, just as
Yeah.
a debut album. That's their
Yeah.
first.
And there's
full-
so many songs on it.
yeah.
I feel
And
like
it's
they took
it's
everything they
long.
wrote. Yeah.
Dude, I can't remember an album like that's that long.
Yeah.
like,
It's
recent
so
memory.
long.
Like a lot of records, like they want to like condense it as much as possible. Like especially their first album, they want to make it so they want to condense it as much as possible and be like, yeah, we don't want to bore you, or like we're a new band, we don't want to.
Yeah.
This is just what we're about. They were just like, nope, like 70 minutes of like
Yeah. It's like 14 songs, right?
14 songs.
14 tracks and they're all different.
Yeah, they're all different. They're all like 4 to 5 minutes long,
Yeah.
if not more. Some of them, and like,
Yeah, there's like a 6-minute track on there, I think.
dude, and they were just like, it's a good, like, if you had to go on like a really long road trip, and I've had to do that. Like if I had to go, like, I think I took a trip to like visit my brother in Nashville, and I put that record on, and like it was like half the trip.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. For like long trips and driving and
Mm-hmm.
doing whatever. It's really long, but it's great because you can pull any of those songs out and throw it in a playlist and it's still good.
Mm-hmm.
But like the album in general is great.
What's your right? Because for me it always changes. But what's your favorite song at this time? Like, what's the one that like?
I mean, French Girls is still a banger.
Mhm.
That song is so good.
They're yeah. Mr. Teeth. I forgot how like Mr. Teeth was also like the banger for a long time.
Yeah.
When it first came out, I'm just like that's the song that like I associated with them was Mr. Teeth. I don't know why, but at very first I'm like, this is like the Harvard song in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
And whatever the song is before the second to last track, before The Inevitable and I.
before the kind of acoustic-y
Yeah.
track, that one's called
The Conclusion?
The Creative.
The Creative.
Yeah.
And
The one before that, I like for a long time. It was my favorite. It was Hallucinating the Horse.
mm-hmm.
That one was my favorite, just because the ending was just like so big and just so good, and like I just loved how it like kind of went from like a strange time and then just like exploded at the end.
Yeah.
Like I just loved that build up. I loved the way they wrote. They like took me on that journey. I'm like, oh, dude.
And it's crazy because they wrote that album and then all the songs are great, but live they do it different.
Yeah, they sort of change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like they always like they'll add like an extra interlude or like some
Yeah.
instrumentals, and like they'll extend parts, and
Like there are
they're super good
videos
live.
of him, I don't even know his name, just the
Jesse.
dude. Jesse, yeah, that's right. There are videos of Jesse performing French Girls, and he's playing the trumpet, and it's like not what you hear on the record, but it's so cool. Where it's like I wasn't expecting that, but I love it.
He's a super prolific like instrumentalist and songwriter, but like he also like produces. Like he's got a big setup like you see in here, like but like not with like not shitty equipment. It's like all like good. Like it's not like like that. Like I've had like this like combo stack for like, I mean this stack for like fucking 15 years.
Yeah.
I've had, like it's just like I'm just too cheap to buy a new one. But I don't even have like this like M audio interface. It's just like barely anything. But like he's got like a real studio at his house in Charlotte, North Carolina.
I think it's weird that you know where he lives.
Mm-hmm.
I think you went too far.
I read up on him. You know, he used to work at a screen printing company.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really creepy.
Yeah. Dude, this is all public information. Like
I know, but
that's why they do interviews, so they can like, yeah,
that's cool. I didn't know either of those things, so that's pretty sweet.
yeah. I mean, like he does a lot of like his own like self production, and when he's not doing Harvard, he's always doing something else. So like, Do you or do you not know about the Baromantic? Do you know what the Baromantic is?
You've brought this up.
It's just a solo project. It's just like
okay, yeah. So you brought this up before
because I think you had it on at work. You were like,
yeah, I had it on.
Mm-hmm.
I had Harvard on, and that's kind of how we clicked in a way, like you and I as people.
I was like, yo, you like Harvard? Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's so awesome. It's one of those bands where like not a lot of people know, and then when you meet someone that knows Harvard, they're like, yo,
it's like you're in
did
the club.
we just become best friends?
In the club, bro.
Yeah, my friend Owen, we were hanging out at this New Year's party. And he is so good with music, and like he goes to school for music or some shit like that. And we were talking about great artists, and he brought up From Indian Lakes, and then I was like, have you ever heard of Harvard? And he stopped and like turned around and looked around. He was like,
like if anyone was
do you know Harvard? I'm
like if
like,
anyone
yeah.
was
It's
like,
so awesome.
Like the cops are like looking like,
yeah, like don't tell anybody this, but I do know Harvard. They're actually
no, it's like
fantastic.
one of those like like not. And it's not for. I learned this. It's not for everybody. Some people hear it. They're just like, they're like, and I'm like, how?
Yeah, those
How
people
do you-
don't matter.
Yeah, they don't. And like, sometimes like I don't care, but sometimes it's like a damn shame because it's someone you know, and they're like, come on, dude. Like,
Yeah,
you like cool stuff. Why don't you like this cool thing?
yeah,
And they're like, oh,
it's cool.
Like,
Yeah.
and I always get the, I always hear, oh, they sound like Circa Survive, and like I
Yeah.
like Circa. I don't love Circa.
Circus good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in my honest opinion, and this is just me, like if everyone's just like, oh, when I put on Inevitable and I was like, oh, it sounds like Circa Survive. I'm like, well, if Circa Survive had put out this record, it would be my favorite Circa Survive record.
Yeah, yeah,
So like, I mean, I don't know what that says, but
yeah. I mean, to each his own. Like I like Circus Survive, but I got into them really late, which is something that I do all the time. I get into bands really late.
I do too, man. Like some of them, yeah. I think with Circa, I was there not right away, but like I got there. Like it was 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
They only had 2 records out, so I guess I was kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Circa for free. They played a free concert at King of Prussia Mall.
No way. That's
Yeah.
sick.
It was like, did you ever go to any of those Zoomies couch tours?
Yeah.
They were doing like that or
Okay.
something like that,
Right.
where it was just like a mall sponsored free concert outside in the parking lot of KOP Mall, and it was sweet. You just like walked in. There was no admission. It was just like it was sick.
That's dope.
And there was this guy. I know this isn't Harvard, but it was Circa. But there's this guy who was just like typical. Like it was like I was at the KOP Mall watching Circa Survive in a parking lot, but it looked like with the people around me, it looked like I was in like Woodstock, because there were guys that like there was this guy with like sort of like shorter dreads and sunglasses and a headband and like a tie-dye shirt, and he was just like moving, like the universe was like moving through him.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like, and he like was to the songs, like he was like moving and like you could tell he was just like fucking fried on LSD or something.
Right.
But like
That's sick.
I'll never forget that. And that was I think that was the only time I saw Circa. I don't know if I
Right.
ever paid to see them, but it was cool. Like I'll go see if a band is playing for free, I'll go see them.
Yeah, I've never seen that band perform
Hmm.
ever.
Apparently they're great. And like I know a lot of people who are like really, really into them,
Yeah.
and good for them. They're
Which
actually
is
good.
awesome.
I can see why someone likes them
Yeah.
because I like Harvard.
Right.
So like,
Yeah.
that's how I feel about Harvard. I have that connection to a similar band.
Yeah.
But I saw Harvard 2 times.
Okay.
I saw them once. It was by accident. It was a friend of mine, who I won't mention, but a friend of mine was playing in a band, and he like they were like just like a pop, like a not pop punk, but like more just like skate punk, I guess, like sort of like that traditional like 90s punk that like I grew up with and all that. They were in that kind of band. They were playing at the Dobbs, the former Dobbs, which is not there anymore, down on South Street, which they call it Legendary Dobbs, which I thought was a little presumptuous. it's like calling a venue the legendary Dobbs, the legendary Union Transfer. It's like, okay, let's calm
Union
down.
Transfer is the sickest. Venue.
I know it is. It's sick, but like, it's still like.
I want to play there
like,
one day. So we
legendary.
Can't, we can't even pretend.
Yeah,
I have to play.
Like if
that
you've been
one
around
day.
for like more than 15 years, you can call yourself the legendary
Whatever.
foreign hands. The legendary. It's like, all right, let's calm down. But yeah, like he was like, dude, come to this show. I'm playing down. Just come see my band. And I'm like, okay, who else is playing? And they're like, oh, this band Harvard is coming on tour. And I'm like, you're opening for Harvard? Like I had just learned who they were, and he's just like, yeah, dude, like he had never heard, he didn't care.
He was just like, whatever.
And
like,
and like he listened to them. Like I was just like, dude, like I love Harvard. So like not only will I come see you, but like I'm probably gonna go to this show with a band that I from out of state that I also know that I like, and I'm gonna come see. And he's like, okay. And this particular person that I'm talking about is a legendary, like he's just highly opinionated. I'll give you that.
mm-hmm.
Like, and he can be like wickedly contrarian. So like if you like something that like people like sort of like for a good reason, like Radiohead, he'll go like, yeah, they suck. Like he's that kind of attitude about certain things. Like he's like too good to like things that other people like.
Right.
So he listened to Harvey and he's like, he sucks. And I'm like, you're a piece of shit, dude. And like but he's like a guy that I've known for like a long time, and it's just like, you know,
yeah.
So it like, but it's whatever. So I went, and then and that was the first time I saw them, and like, you know, he's playing trumpet out in the crowd, and like,
oh man,
he's in French Girls. He's playing French Girls, and he's playing the trumpet part, and he's like and he stage dives, and he's playing the trumpet part to the ceiling with people carrying him. I've never seen anything like that.
mm-hmm.
Like it was amazing. And then they came back the next year, at the same place at the Dobbs, and I actually the following year got to talk to Jess, because this was 2012, I guess, because they were just coming out with From the Bird's Cage. Like they just gotten signed to Equal Vision, and like they had just made the announcement, and I spotted him. Like I walked into the Dobbs and I spotted him at the bar, and he was talking to a couple of people, and was like, hey, what's up, Jesse? Like, you know, good luck tonight. Like, hey, I heard about you guys signing to Equal Vision. Congrats.
Yeah.
And like I was trying to like keep down like the holy shit, I'm talking to Jesse, holy shit. But like he was really cool.
You're fangirling.
I was so fangirling in front of. I'm proud of myself. I thought I was doing pretty well. But you know, like he was sipping on his like whiskey or something, like, and he was just like chilling out, just being like Jesse. He's like, hey, thanks, man, that's really cool. And I'm just like he's like, but I have his attention now. It's not like he's like, I'm saying this and he's like, I'm trying to get away.
Yeah, like he's facing the bar.
He's just chilling. He's doing nothing. So I'm just like, I'm gonna fire off some questions. I'm gonna see if he'll answer them. And like, I'm just like, so like, how's the new record coming? Like, what's progress report, like what's going on. Like I don't want to be too like new music, I need it. I don't want to like be super hard on him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, it's done, man, it's all recorded, it's all, you know, it's getting mastered, it's we're trying to figure out like how it's going to be like distributed. Like we're trying to figure out, like we just got signed to Equal Vision, but like we got to decide on like a release date.
Is this like prior to The Inevitable and I?
No, this is prior to From the Bird's Cage.
Okay. So
Inevitable and I had been out for years.
Right.
And this is about 6 months prior to when From the Bird's Cage actually came out. So he's like, at this time, he's like, you know, he's talking to me about like, yeah, like the label wants us to put it out this way, and we're trying to negotiate, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And then he's like, we don't even have a name for the record yet. And I'm like, really? Like, are there like, you know, working titles? Like, are there like, you know, and he's just like, yeah, we got some, like, and like for the I should have like wrote them down or something, because there were these wild fucking album titles, but one of them was From the Bird's Cage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only one I remember, because when it came out, I'm just like, oh, they went with that one.
There it
so
is.
Like,
yeah, that's so sick.
So like, but yeah, he fired off like 3 or 4 others, and that for the life of me, I can't remember. But that was sick. And then they played, and that was really cool. And then like a year later, Dobbs like shut down.
Right.
No longer a venue.
Damn. Rest in peace.
R.I.P. But yeah, dude, that's my Harvard story.
Yeah. So I saw Harvard once. They were opening up for, I forget the other band that was on the tour. It was one other band, Harvard, and then Lydia.
Oh yeah.
It was like Sun something.
I can look this up.
Cool.
We have technology.
So
Harvard Lydia tour.
I mean, I liked Lydia. Lydia's great.
Dude, I love Lydia.
Yeah, that they did
Golden Sun.
Golden Sun, that's right. They were really good. But
I've never heard.
I was obviously super excited for Harvard to the point where I was like, if Lydia were to not play, I won't be that upset because they were, oh my God, they were so sick. They were so cool live. They basically played everything off.
Like you were pretty content to leave after Harvard because they just brought the house down.
I mean, I was excited to see Lydia for sure
Right.
because they were playing that whole record.
Illuminate. Because it was the
I believe it was a 10-year. Was it a 10-year?
that would have been too late or too early.
Yeah.
I think they were just doing Illuminate just to fucking do it.
Yeah. So they did that and that was cool, but Harvard did a really good job. And yeah, it was wild. They basically played everything off of From the Bird's Cage.
They were sort of in that newer form. Like Jesse had the keyboard.
He had the keyboard to the side.
He had like his whole.
He had that little setup with the his keyboard, but he had like like a cloth kind of draped over it.
Mm-hmm. That was sort of like the From the Bird's Cage aesthetic. That was like the thing they went for.
Yeah.
Like the music was more involved. It was more expansive. So they had more toys on stage.
I mean, they killed it, but I was a little upset because I really liked a lot of the songs off of The Inevitable and I.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just like, man, they're going to play everything off the new record. This is
that's a
harsh.
bummer.
And then I see him pull out the trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
just for
French
you.
girls. And
Just
my
for
heart
you.
sank. I was like, yeah, dude. Oh my God. I was so hype that they were playing that song.
Mm-hmm.
And that was awesome. And then he like started walking around in the crowd playing trumpet, kind of like you were saying. And I was just like, dude, this guy's crazy. Like, and prior to that, I guess they were having technical issues. So he just kind of took the mic and like went to the side and was like, "What's your name?" It was really
doing
weird.
Crowd work.
Yeah, but like I've never seen it like this before. Usually it's like, "How are you guys doing tonight?" Yeah. Who's excited for Lydia? Yeah. It was like, "What's your name?" Who named you? I didn't name you. And then he said,
He's also a fucking goofball.
and then he said, "Your parents didn't name you." And I said, "What? What are you saying? This is sick."
He's talking to you, or is he? Talking
No, he wasn't talking to me.
Okay.
I wish he was. But he like pointed at someone out in the crowd,
Okay.
and I was just like, he's gonna freak them out. Like, it was just the weirdest conversation I've ever seen from a stage.
Mm-hmm.
And
dude, crowd work can make or show, like it can like mark. I love when like a band or like a singer, like a lead singer, like will go out of their way to like engage the crowd or like do something like that.
Yeah.
Because that like it makes for like fucking like outrageous stories. Like I just got reminded of a story by my buddy D-Mug. One of our friends, I won't mention who they are because I don't know if they want me to talk, but a mutual friend of ours he's a big Circus Survive fan.
okay.
Huge Circus Survive fan. And this was back in like 2010, 2011, right when Blue Sky Noise came out. And he went to see them, and it was his birthday. So like he was really excited that like he's going to see his favorite band on his birthday. And he like, Circus playing, I forget, it was somewhere in Philly, or it had to be in Philly. And, Circus playing their songs, and like, they're about 5 or 6 songs in, and Anthony Green's like, how's it going tonight? Like, whatever. And the crowd's like, woo! And then, like, on top of everyone going, woo! And, like, like the normal reaction, my buddy, I won't say his name, but he kept saying, "It's my birthday! It's my birthday!" Like, he kept, like, saying it, like,
Okay.
like, to the chagrin. And, like, you would think that, like, that wouldn't be, like, a huge deal other than, like, the people around him. Like, they'd be like, dude, all right, let's chill out. But Anthony Green went on the mic and said, No one cares about your birthday. Stop saying it's your birthday. You're not special. Like he like dug into my friend. Like he really did. Like
At least he was honest.
Yeah, and like he's just like, you're ruining this. Like you're ruining this show, or like it was like really out over the top. Like, and it devastated.
It's
him.
my birthday. Fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much. It devastated my friend, and like he was straight up depressed for weeks.
Good.
After that. He was just
That
like,
is so
that's
sick.
all he thought about.
Dude,
It's my
Oh my
birthday.
God.
Like Anthony Green ruined my friend's birthday.
that means he has to go every year on his birthday. Like,
Yeah.
man, I can't tell anyone it's my birthday.
And now he can't listen. It's his favorite band. He can't listen to them. he went for a time that like he couldn't listen to Circus Survive.
I hope he runs into to Anthony Green. He's like, "Hey,
It's very possible. Like,
it's my birthday." Like, and then Anthony Green has flashback. Like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry."
it's you.
Yeah, I thought I told
never
you
thought
nobody
we'd meet again.
cares.
Oh, dude. And I remember, like, I had forgotten because it was like 6 years ago or 6 or 7 years ago. And then my buddy's like, dude, remember when our friend like that happened to him? I'm like, oh yeah. Oh my God. That was crazy.
But seeing Harvard live and that interaction, I can't believe I remember that. And then I remember kind of being afraid to like meet Jesse or like buy merch and have him be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did it anyways, but I went to the merch table and they had like shirts and hoodies and whatever. And I was just like, can I have a 7-inch and all the CDs? And they're like, yeah.
I bet they fucking like picked you up like Peter Gabriel. They didn't know what to do with you.
Jesse walked around and shook my hand. He's like, thank you. And I was like, I can't tell if you're in character or not. But like in my mind, I said that, but I was like, yeah, man. But he's like, because I've seen like the audio tree. I've seen interviews. He just asked someone on the crowd who named them. Like, it was weird. And I was just like,
you don't know if he's still on or off. Or...
yeah. Like, are you real? And I think
you a real
that's
guy? Am I talking to a guy?
That's the coolest thing about him, in my opinion, is that like he has this. I don't know if persona is the right word, but like he's kind of like a character.
I would say persona. He has a stage persona.
Yeah,
I would say that. Like that's to his credit. Like he's able to turn that on and off at will. Like he's able to control that because he knows when he's on stage. Like imagine like if he's being a goofball, sort of a like what I was trying to say, a spotlight, hogging attention whore off stage. Like if he's that way, like if he's then he's a douchebag. Then he's like, he doesn't know how to turn it off. Yeah. And you're like, dude, I just need you to be a person now. Is that okay? Like so like that's to his credit. Like he's able to, manage that and be like, yeah, this is the way I am on stage. This is the way I am when I'm just talking to normal people. Yeah. He was that way with me, man. He was super cool. Like he was like, it was really weird because like when I was talking to him, like we were at like the way the Dobbs was set up, there was like a bar, and like it was like a bench. So it wasn't like, it was like a long bench along the bar. It wasn't like seats or stools. It was just like a long bench, and we were sitting like side by side, and like we were like facing out, like because we didn't want to face the bar and all the drinks. We were just facing the people, and like so we're like talking to the side, like we're like I'm on this side, I'm like, hey, what's up? And then like he would turn this way, and like to answer my question, he'd go, yeah, we're like working on it with like negotiations with like he would
talk to you
he
like
would,
it was
so,
like
so it's not like he would face me. He did this like side move. He'd be like, yeah, so Equal Vision's kind of being like in our way, like into my face. Like he would say it, but he wouldn't turn his head. He would say it just closer to my face.
That's awesome.
I don't know like why I remember that part, but
yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, but that was just like kind of a cool thing because he was just like it was just our conversation. Yeah. But he still wanted to look at everyone that was like outside and like that was like walking by.
I feel like he watches movies and then he's like, I want to be that guy today, and then he's just like that person.
He's a goofball, man. Yeah. Like if you watch like interviews,
but
like,
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Like that's what you want in like a charismatic
front
man. You want charisma. You want So I think he's good at that. I think he knows that he would want that in his favorite, whoever, like his idol.
Mm-hmm. And it's cool because it kind of reflects in his music and his live performance where he, so they, after The Inevitable and I, they came out with this thing on their Bandcamp called The Interpretations. And it was like the album cover, but it was red instead of blue. And
I love The Interpretation.
Yeah, it's so awesome. I found it a few years after I had heard The Inevitable and and I bought it and I listened to it, and it's so cool how he can just take like a song and just redo it and be like, all right, we're gonna make this different. And then you see like live performances of them performing those songs, but it's like, hey, we're gonna take like these 5 instruments, now let's play this song. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's like, that's crazy.
It's conceptual, and it's like,
yeah.
Dude, like, and they like extend it out like they would like live. They take these liberties with the way the song is, and then they just expand them and be like, what if it sounded like really more adult contemporary? What if it sounded more like, you know, and it, like, just knowing like that he talks about like, I like Nat King Cole and I like jazz music, like it's super jazzy and it's super like they extend parts, and he treats his music like jazz standards. Like he treats them like, you know, you could extend this part, you know, you can open this up for a piano solo or like a whatever. So like, it's
a lot of like, I can't tell how he, you know how like sometimes you listen to a song and it's like, I know how you did that. Like first you started with the bass line, then you added drums, then you added this. But for him and for Harvard, I can't really piece that together. All I know is that, like, in my opinion, a good record has a lot of texture and dynamic.
Yeah.
And it's when you listen to it once and you go the whole time listening to certain aspects, like most people will just listen to the vocals. But then after a while, you start listening to other parts of the songs. Then you go back to the record again. You're like, I can't believe there's pianos in the song. I had no idea.
Yeah, you find like hidden little gems.
And it's like just little nuances and kind of, I mean, lots of dynamic.
They're good for that.
Yeah, and it's so cool how he's like, you know, what if we added like this here or this here, and it just works. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
He's got super good instincts.
Yeah.
Like, and that comes from him being like a good like producer. He knows that like people are listening. He knows that the people that matter are listening, and they will, you know, they'll listen in like good speakers, and like they'll listen to like, you know, or like good headphones, and they'll be like,
it's not half-ass listening.
Yeah, like we buried this like, you know, this like little guitar track, or like, you know, this vocal line like way in the back and like the right speaker at this part that you're not really listening to it at first.
It's not in your face, but you'll find it.
But like it makes the whole thing, because like now you're listening and you're like, oh my god, that was there the whole time. Like,
yeah. And now when you hear that song and you go back to it, you can't get it out.
Now you can't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't.
It's kind of like a bad frequency, but in a good way.
Right.
Like you hear this frequency in these songs, or this noise that just keeps popping up in like a bad mix or whatever, and you're like, I can't listen to this anymore because all I hear is like this high pitched noise in the guitars. Mm-hmm. You know. But instead, it's I keep listening to this, and I keep finding new things and new layers and parts and things like that. And
that goes with like, I think you're right. Maybe he does like really good movies, like. Because movies do that too, like like my favorite movies, like, you know, like I don't know, Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction, and, There Will Be Blood, like all these like really great movies. Like I see something new every time.
Yeah, like little like Easter eggs. That's what they call them in trailers. Yeah, lots of those.
Yep, and like
it's crazy.
So like I think he takes that approach, and he'll be like, I'm gonna hide like a little piano part here. See if anyone picks up on it.
And like musically, it's incredible. And then lyrically, it's incredible. Like both match up really well. Where he talks about,
I think he uses. So just coming from, I do think his lyrics are good, but coming from, just someone who's been writing music for a long time and writing songs and writing lyrics, he employs a sort of technique that's like. He knows what syllables sound good, like with because he's so instrumentally involved that when it comes time to like make like a solid vocal track or like, you know, to incorporate good lyrics, he'll come up with the lyrics that like he does it in a way that's like it's not super literal. It's sort of abstract. It's like, you know, he's picking words that like kind of he's not going for like the literal, like almost like you know how like a lot of spew can be very wordy and like, you know, it's like a whole phrase and he's got a whole poem to say.
Yeah. He's like kind of beating around the bush and like
right. He's like
using metaphors and similes and stuff.
The words that he's singing serve to his voice. They serve to how he thinks the song will be, like how his voice can add as like an extra instrument.
Yeah.
So he's going to say the words that like complement how his vocals are going to be and how they're going to complement. So like, you know, he's not going to like hold out a big note on like a weird syllable. Mm-hmm. He's going to pick the syllable and then he's going to he's
very specific and like
so the words come out sort of abstract, and I actually like that. I like that, like, you know, because some people like they have like a really narrow-minded view when it comes to lyrics. They're just like, well, lyrics don't make sense, like, you know, they're just kind of like
as long as the rhythm is good,
right?
You know, but then it's like for him it's very specific,
right?
And everything is on purpose.
Yeah, right, because like when you're a vocalist, it's like you have to craft it in a way that complements the song. You don't want to like be like, well, I have this thing to say, and like, you know, I'm not gonna like alter the actual cadence or like the phrasing because I gotta get this out, man. I gotta say this, like, you know, I got this whole poem that I gotta fit in. But like sometimes it doesn't call for that. Sometimes like you have to like step back and be like, well, these syllables work better for this part, or like, you know, I don't want to be so wordy right now because it's a big part or something like that. Yeah. So like I appreciate that because like, and not everyone gets that. Everyone's just like, well, the lyrics like they don't make sense. They're too out there. They don't like fit together. I'm just like, they don't have to.
It's like it's like, not spelled out for you. Like look for them. Right. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, you're reading them on like a lyrics page or like a, you know, a website that like reads out like the lyrics, and you're trying to figure out what he's trying to say. But you're not gonna like, you're gonna nowhere with that. Just listen to the song. Like, the words serve the song, and the song is like where the magic is. yeah. It's not in the transcript of the words. It's like in the whole song. So it's like,
and it's funny because a lot of like as someone who like just listens to music, you know what I mean? Like people listen to music. Everyone listens to music. Any like Joe Schmo, he's gonna be listening to what the dude has to say. Or what the song, what they're saying.
They're looking
lyrical
for the
content,
message. They're looking for the right.
And they don't care about like, oh man, I can't believe they used all that chorus on the guitar, and there's like a solo here.
Oh, like,
and
can you
layers.
believe they recorded this direct in? They didn't do any like.
There's a lot of low end in the kick. People don't care about that.
No, there's like almost no outboard gear. It's all direct, or like something like they don't. Yeah, they're not in tune with that.
It sounds too boxy. Like like normal guys, normal people listening to music are 90% of the time going to be listening to the vocals. And if they don't like the vocals, they're out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's the human aspect. That's like
the
that's how they can draw themselves. That's how they feel part of the experience because not everyone's a drummer or a guitar player.
Yeah.
Or like not everyone can wrap their head around how those instruments work together and blend together and make it the sound that they're hearing. But they can totally sell like somebody going up to a microphone and going, today is the greatest day you've ever known. Everyone like gets that. So like, I mean, so that's like Tales Old as Time. But like, yeah, but like, when some people say like, oh, that band has bad lyrics, or like, you know, their lyrics aren't good. Like for me, it's like the opposite. Cause like, if you're saying like someone like Harvard or like a band that like incorporates that technique I was talking about, like if they have like poorly thought out lyrics, like I think bands that like, you know, they try and like use like certain like buzzwords to like get the listeners' attention, like in that what you were talking about, how like get like the like Joe Schmo engage, and it comes off super corny and super derivative, and like it just dude, I can't stand that. Like I can't stand like lyrics that like are super literal and like, you know, like why can't you love me, or like something like that. Some like tough guy hardcore band that like, you know, is like super like they don't want to, they're like trying to be the opposite of abstract. They're trying to be shocking. They're like, trying to be like
very straight up and in your face. I like lyrical content that's very descriptive.
When hardcore bands can do that, when hardcore bands don't have to resort to that. They can use like, this sort of abstract style of using lyrics and using syllables and things like that, and come up with some really kick-ass lyrics that like get stuck in your head without being so like dumb and literal and like
there are
lowest common denominator like.
Yeah, there are a lot of bands like that, but there are hardcore bands that definitely have some really good lyrical content, and they do spend a lot of time kind of figuring out what they want to say. You know what I mean? But there's both. There's a lot of both of like, hey, let's just say it, and then
and like I think there's an audience for that, and I get that, but that's not for me. Like, I don't, that's just personal taste.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, there's that one Foxing song. I know they're not a hardcore band, but they're a band that do what I'm talking about. Yeah. I like Foxing. I appreciate what they do. I know people like them, but some of their lyrics are like kind of like why can't you love me back? Like, I know that's like a big part of like their, people wait for that song. People remember that line. It's like, it's like a benchmark of their set. But I'm just like, guys, like,
I love that song.
I know you do, and I like that record. But like, I just go, come on, guys, like you could have said that a little, more eloquently. You could have said that like a little bit more.
I think so. That's kind of like the conclusion kind of that song. Like, if we're gonna talk about that song, like, I think it's like,
I've struggled with liking that song because I think it's a good song, but like, just some of those parts go like, come on, guys, like I almost like, I guess I expected more, but I really shouldn't, because like I'm not making the music. I have no right to say that,
right?
But like, I'm always like, okay, I guess that's part of the song. Like,
I think that
I always get that I always feel that way when I get to that part. But.
Yeah, I think that what am I trying to say? That song explains a lot, and there is a lot of descriptive lyrics, but then that happens, and I think it's just like, hey, all these things mean this, and I'm going to refer back to it.
It's the sum of all parts.
Yes, exactly. It's like what keeps it together.
Sure.
But that's the cool thing about Harvard, is sometimes I have no idea what they're talking about. Like,
they're not that kind of band, and you can, I don't know, it's not so literal, and it kind of
it's very abstract and descriptive.
It calls for your own like personal interpretation, like it, which means that like it's not going to be the same every time.
Yeah.
So it's almost like guaranteed re-listening. It's guaranteed revisitation, because it means one thing at one time, but then, whatever, 5-10 years down the road, 15 years, like, your life is way different, but you still like this band, you still like this song.
It can mean something else.
It can mean like a little something else. Like, sometimes it can stay the same, and that's cool because you need that, or like you, sorry, I have to burp. I don't want to burp in the mic, but
I've bumped into this thing like 2 or 3 times. Like, I'm just
with the brim of your hat.
Yeah,
that's cool. I mean, like, we're raw dog and dirty and on this record, on this podcast. So like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm like burping in the mic. I don't give a shit. I'm not sponsored, so like, it's awesome. I can do whatever I want. Yeah. So this podcast is sponsored by my need for attention and my desire to always have the spotlight on me,
my crippling
and
debt.
my crippling debt, and my constant desire for positive reinforcement from people that I don't even know. So those are my sponsorships. If you could support them, please, that'd be nice.
At least you're honest.
Oh, and Geico Insurance.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. Don't sue me, Geico. But yeah, dude.
Cool.
We had a pretty long talk. I mean,
yeah.
Harvard's pretty sick. I mean, I think we can both agree on that.
Yeah, Harvard's a great band.
I'm pretty sure that they're. So I was doing some research recently about them, just because like every now and then I just want to
dig in and
see if anyone
things.
knows what's happening, or like, because they've been sort of inactive for a couple years now. I just looked and said like their drummer went to Singapore to teach or something.
That's sick.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I guess that like gave Jesse the opportunity to start this other band called Foreign Air, which he's been rocking pretty hard recently. They're like his like pop side project or main project now with this other guy. I forget his name. But it's just him and this other guy. They make like wacky ass electronic pop music.
Yeah.
Some of it's kind of cool because he's doing this very trendy, like very profitable style of music with with the heavy backbeat and pop, like you can hear it on like the radio. But it's with his vocals and it's his eccentricities, like it's his like, and goddamn dude, like he actually does it well.
Yeah.
Like if all pop music was like that, I would like it. So like it's unfair that like that he's that prolific and that he can like make he can make a banging ass just like modern rock, alternative rock record with Harvard, and then he can make a really great like spacey ass like indie Bon Iver record with the Baromantic, and then he can make this crazy ass pop music that's like a beat and
super talented guy.
Mm-hmm. It's unfair, son of a bitch. Fucking Jesse Klassen. But yeah, dude. That's about it. Do you want to add anything more? Or?
No, I got nothing to say.
Sick, man.
I'm glad I could do it.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check out Foreign Hands. That's
sure.
That's Gill's band.
Sure.
Sure. I mean, if you want to, you really don't have to.
You don't have to.
No. I mean, like they'll still do a thing.
Yeah.
Like with or without you. I mean, they're not dependent on.
We're still gonna play music sometimes, mostly never.
So yeah, just do whatever you want. We don't give a shit. Well, thanks, dude.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'll see you at work.
Great.